Hello, and greetings, lovely person. On Wizards of the Coast's website, I found my subscribers, and my viewers' dream job advertised, which is the Vice President of Dungeons & Dragons position. The person hired for this position would be in charge of D&D and all of its products. This position will report to Chris Cox, who is the CEO of Wizards of the Coast. Although I do meet and exceed the education requirements of the position, as well as many of the other requirements, I, unfortunately, do not have 10+ years of work experience in sales and marketing for a consumer products company. But I can always dream. If I were the VP of D&D, here is what I would do. 1. Expand D&D into new international markets. 2. Gather and ask feedback from the fan community. 3. Strengthen online partner relationships and acquire online resources. 4. Make D&D 6th edition more grimdark. This item depends on what the CEO Chris Cox's future plans are for D&D. If he has no intention of creating D&D 6e, then this item is null and void. 5. Change the text and structure format of D&D adventures and modules. This item is my own personal wish list item, which I think would vastly improve the quality of D&D adventures and modules in the future. However, I admit such an improvement would come at a cost of lengthening the writing and editing time of such adventures. I will now go into a little more detail on each of these items, except for item number 4. Instead, I will throw in a bonus item or suggestion towards the end of this video. Item number 1. Normally, I would say have the D&D 5e core rulebooks and a few of the popular adventures translated into a number of foreign languages. However, starting in 2017, that work seems to have already been done by a company called Gale Force 9. According to the displayed article, they worked on translating D&D 5e into French, German, Italian, Japanese, Spanish, Polish, and Portuguese. However, when I do a search on the internet for these translations, other than Japanese, it seems they are out of print. In Japan, a company called Hobby Japan is distributing Japanese translations of D&D 5e. I would go to Hobby Japan and ask how they were able to make D&D a success in their market. I still think having translated copies of D&D 5e will still be a success. However, just having translated copies of D&D will not be enough. After all, Dungeons & Dragons can seem like a complex game, and it could be intimidating. So, something extra needs to be done. With their Vox Machina campaign, Critical Role did an excellent job in showcasing how to play D&D, and it became super popular. I would work or partner with Critical Role to have their Campaign 2, also known as the Mighty Nine campaign, dubbed into various foreign languages. Actually, I would prefer having their first campaign, known as the Vox Machina campaign, dubbed. However, that would probably require negotiating with an extra company, i.e. Geek and Sundry. I still think it is feasible, but at the same time, I am trying to keep things simple, and a third party could complicate things. Also, Hasbro operates in 40 locations worldwide. So, I would also try to leverage their global presence and expertise. Item number 2. As someone looking in from the outside, It seems that Wizards of the Coast already does a good job at gathering data, information, and feedback from the fan community. I would make sure that this job never gets de-emphasized. Hopefully, when the COVID-19 pandemic is over, Wizards of the Coast can resume D&D Adventures League's activities to its fullest and participate in gaming conventions and events. In the meantime, I would have Wizards continue to be active in relevant social media such as Facebook, Reddit, YouTube, Twitch, etc., as well as read, listen, watch what fans are saying on these various platforms. Comments left in D&D YouTube videos, D&D Reddit posts, and D&D Facebook groups can be very insightful. I am going to go out on a limb here by saying this, so here goes. What I would not do is gather feedback from Twitter personalities or appease them. These controversial Twitterers are only looking to extract money and are not true fans or consumers of D&D. If they were, then they would have YouTube and or Twitch channels with lots of content discussing and or playing D&D. Item number 3. From the job description, there seems to be an emphasis on e-commerce, digital distribution, and having an online presence, much of which seems to be outsourced to strategic partners of Wizards. In this area, I do have experience. However, I would need further guidance from Chris Cox as to what he envisions for D&D's online presence. Does he want to strengthen and expand relationships with these strategic partners? Or does he want to create or acquire in-house expertise in a few areas? Let's start with the direct-to-consumer channel. In this area, Wizards already has a partnership with D&D Beyond. This venue would also include online stores such as Drive-Thru RPG and DM's Guild. One of the responsibilities of the position reads, quote, "Establish a robust D2C business for Dungeons & Dragons tabletop products," unquote. I have some ideas, but they may not be applicable if they do not align with Mr. Cox's vision. So, my question to Mr. Cox is, do you want to meet this goal via acquisition or grown and developed internally? It seems from the way this goal is written, Mr. Cox does not want to continue relationships with certain strategic partners. Virtual tabletop would be the next area in the D&D online space. Roll20 and Fantasy Grounds dominates this area, and Wizards already has relationships with these two and others as well. Currently, in partnership with Wizards, Larian Studios is developing the Baldur's Gate 3 video game. I should confess, I am a Larian Studios fanboy. My dream job would be working for either Wizards of the Coast or for Larian Studios. Anyway, their Divinity Original Sin 2 game had a Game Master's mode. This mode allowed players and a GM to use the game as a virtual tabletop. As a DM or GM, what I love about this feature is that I could concentrate on storytelling and let the game handle combats between the players and monsters. Roll20, Fantasy Grounds, and other virtual tabletops do not have this feature of AI programmed into monster encounters and combats. Likewise, Wizards should encourage and or aid Larian in developing a DM mode for Baldur's Gate 3. This also in the future could be a potential additional revenue source from D&D Adventures DLC. The dominant online tools for world building and map making are displayed on the screen. For wizards, these areas offer potential areas for expansion. One area wizards should reconsider its position in are MMOs. Via partners, D&D currently has 2 free-to-play MMOs. However, throughout the world, there has been a backlash and increasing legislation on loot boxes and microtransactions. Displayed is the recommended text layout for D&D adventures and modules. Again, this is a wish list item of mine. In the past, I have created a video on this very topic. Link will be in the description section below if you are curious for further details. As a bonus, item number 6, I would commission Luke Gygax to author a D&D adventure. Hopefully he can convince the rest of the Gygax clan to participate as co-authors. Can you imagine how successful an adventure authored by Luke Gygax would be? I believe it has the potential to be just as successful as Matt Mercer's Explorer's Guide to Wildmount. Okay, fantasy time over. Time to get back to reality. But hey, I would not complain if I were instead hired to be the right-hand man of the VP of D&D. Thank you. This is RPG Mods fans saying cheers and have a good day.